The two people in front of them have been trapped in the corridor for a full 35 years. This staircase connects end to end, forming a closed circular space with no exit to the outside world. But amazingly, the items in the vending machine here are refreshed every day. In this way, they have survived until now by relying on the food from the vending machine. However, the two people's living states are completely different. The old man's mental state has long been on the verge of collapse, sitting and waiting to die every day. Jack, on the other hand, relies on his tenacious willpower to exercise every day. He pierces mineral water bottles to wash his body, washes up in front of a mirror pieced together with nail clippers, and finally combs his hair with a comb made of a toothbrush. After finishing all this, Jack will change into clean clothes and start praying. The object of his prayer is the backpack he brought in for the first time, because all the items in the bag are also refreshed here. He doesn't even take a second look at the mountain of cash. But 35 years ago, Jack and his brother were chased by the police for theft. During the escape, his brother was unfortunately shot in the leg by the police. However, the police officer seemed to be shooting for the first time, and his expression was extremely flustered. At this moment, an explosion suddenly came from outside. When the few people were confused, the police officer found a tuft of broken hair on his collar. Later, when the police officer was ready to escort them away, he found that the door on the first floor was actually locked from the outside. When he looked back, he accidentally saw that there were many more stairs below the first floor. He couldn't understand that if he was on the first floor, why there were so many floors below. While complaining about this strange building, he urged Jack and them to go downstairs quickly. But then they noticed something was wrong, because the floor number on the wall had become the 9th floor again, and when they looked down, they found that the stairs here seemed to have no end. Facing this strange phenomenon, several people were also confused. When the police officer looked up the stairs, it clearly said the first floor, but here it became the 9th floor again. So the police officer asked Jack and them to stay where they were and decided to go down to find the exit by himself. However, the exits on each floor here were all locked. When the floor reached the 9th floor again, the police officer actually saw Jack and his brother again. Looking at the police officer coming down from above, the two brothers were extremely shocked. The police officer didn't believe in evil and turned around and ran upstairs again. Not long after, Jack and them saw the panting police officer climbing up from below again. This staircase seemed to connect end to end, forming a spatial closed loop. The police officer, who couldn't believe all this, took out the key and threw it down the gap of the staircase. But in less than 10 seconds, a bunch of keys fell from above their heads. In this way, the three people were completely trapped in this staircase. Due to the lack of any medical equipment, the brother who was shot in the leg died here not long after. During this period, the police officer found a vending machine in the staircase, and amazingly, no matter what they took from it the previous day, as long as it was the next day, the things inside would be refilled again. In this way, they relied on the food from the vending machine to support themselves for a full 35 years. Due to exercising every day, Jack has become a strong and burly man, while the police officer, due to excessive neglect, has a skinny body and even has difficulty climbing stairs. However, only the two of them are left here, so Jack has let go of the hatred of the past. And every once in a while, he will carry the police officer to his residence, then confess to his brother's remains, and finally pick up the police officer and kiss his brother. But on this night, the police officer didn't know what symptom he had and started to roar wildly. When Jack arrived, the police officer seemed to regain his memory. He said his name was Daniel, and many years ago, someone had warned him about this space cycle event. Then he took out a red notebook from his pocket.